Hi there, Mark Bowden and Michael Leckie here for Career Ask Me Anything. If you have questions about your career or careers in general, michaelleckie.com/ask or any of the boxes around us, you can ask the questions there. Here's one that came in around disability. How can I effectively communicate my abilities and strengths to potential employers addressing any concerns they may have about my disability? Michael, do you want to start off on this one?
Yeah, really interesting and a great topic. And first of all, in advance, I'm going to try and address this and use the right language. I am not someone who speaks or talks a lot about disability, and so I hope I don't say anything that kind of sounds wrong. I'm certainly trying not to. But here's what it made me think, and why I prefaced it with that is, I think about that all strengths can be weaknesses and weaknesses can be strength. Now, I don't think that a disability qualifies as a weakness. However, there may be people that you're talking to are unfamiliar with people with different disabilities, whether they be physical, whether they be mental disabilities, wherever they may be, and they may look at those and see them as a weakness. And they also, I think, may look at them and say, that's the determining factor in this person's life because it's unusual, it's outside my experience. But it's not. If you have some sort of disability, you are not your disability. You just have some sort of disability. We all have things that are different, that are divergent, that are neurodivergent, that are physically divergent. It's just they're seen in different ways. And so the first thing I would be doing is I wouldn't be focusing on my disability. I would be focusing on the things that I've accomplished, the outcomes I've achieved, what I've been able to do in my career. If there is a moment where you think it needs to be addressed because the disability per se is fundamental to the job. So, I mean, if you're a person who does not have the capacity to walk on their own, are you going to go for a job as a mail carrier? Well, you might. They might have ways they accommodate you. They just might be looking for that, or they might see it as a real difficulty. So I would be, I guess, looking for what is the way I can turn that disability into a strength if it features in the job or the actions of the job. And quite frankly, it may be that they are looking for ways that may cost a little something, but allow them to employ people with a physical disability in a job like that mail carrier position, and that is something that they want to do and they want to learn from, and they want to be an organization that is able to engage people with those kind of physical disabilities that wouldn't normally be seen as qualified or able for that job. So that's the two things I would first start with. Just focus on what my strengths are regardless and not have the disability be the defining feature of me, which it isn't. And second, is there an opportunity in which it actually can be used for good in a way that we didn't normally think about? That's what comes to mind for me in my first shot, kind of really thinking through this sort of question. Mark, what does it spark for you in your mind?
Yeah, I like what you said there. Here's the way I'm looking at it, which is very, very similar. So number one, to reiterate what you said there, it's not the cards that you get dealt in life, it's how you play them, I would suggest. There's stuff that I got dealt. There's nothing that I can do about it other than how do I deal with that hand of cards that life has given me, which are unalterable. I don't get to, burn two and get pay more money, burn two and give me some better cards. That doesn't happen for me. So it's all about how are you going to play those cards and how are you going to play them in that interview. Now I have what some people might define as a disability. I don't, but I don't mind if you do. I don't care really what you do. I have dyslexia. Some people would count that as a disability. I don't use that terminology around it. I don't mind what terminology you use. It's your life. Do whatever you like is the way I take it. Now, so what I would do in an interview, and what I have done with many people that I work with when I think it's going to be important and an important selling point, is I tell them what I promised them, given that I am made by dyslexia. Those are the cards that I got dealt. I can't hand them back. I always will have those cards. I say, look, I'm dyslexic, and here's what you're going to get from me. You're going to get some thinking that you've never seen before. If there's a problem, if there's an idea, you're going to hear about that from me in a way that you just didn't expect to hear. And that means you're going to get quite a diversity of thought, and some of that thought you're going to find really useful, and it's going to give you, an incredible advantage in any market. Here's what you're also going to get from me. If I write anything to you and there isn't a spell check, and even if there is a spell check, sometimes you won't have any idea what I'm talking about. It just won't make any sense. I won't be spelling stuff the same way that you do, maybe. So you're going to have to manage that, okay? So that's the thing, is I go, look, this is what I promise you. Here's the benefits that you'll get, okay? And you can take those benefits. At the same time, you're going to have this, and you're going to have to deal with that. Because if you want this, you got to manage that over there, and now it's up to you. But what I did is to give them a good offer. Michael, anything final to say on that one?
No, I think that's great. And, what it really kind of brings home to me is that, it's almost a bad question. And it's not. But why it is because we make it about the disability. What it's really about is human beings. And we are in a world where we are continually seeing that more and more there are human beings of all different types that can make a really valid contribution. We have to look past it. As you were talking, I was reminded, I was flying last night and I was watching the movie Hidden Figures. And I looked back even in the 50s that these women were walking into a room and just being looked at, A, because they were women, and B, because they were African American, as they just couldn't do a job. But they'd hired them to do the job because they had the skills already. But yet, that was a world we lived in, and now I go to work, and my colleagues are of all colors and races and speaking different languages, and where I work, it doesn't matter to anyone, but it did not that long ago. I think that things like disabilities that we can see that are obvious to our eye are things that we have allowed to differentiate, and really differentiation doesn't do us any good. So you've got great things to contribute. You've got something great to do in this world. Find that thing. And remember, every once in a while, you're going to run into somebody who just doesn't get it, who is ignorant or who has a prejudice. And you probably maybe in that moment can't convince them. Move on, because there's plenty of people who are going to value what you bring to the table. Hey, thank you for the great question. Again, it's our Career Ask Me Anything with Mark Bowden and Michael Leckie. Want to ask us a question? There should be, in whatever you're watching, there should be a place you can make a comment. But the best place is probably to go to michaelleckie.com/ask and ask us anything. We look forward to your questions. Please keep them coming.